Do you really think you have a chance against us, Mr. Cowboy?
Hey, motherfucker, what you like to do?
Oh, I don't know. Play chess. Screw.
Well, let's play chess.
They give off to Jonathan Taylor. Jump cutting his way close to the goal line. He's in there. Touchdown. I-N-D-Y. Jonathan Taylor.
Wheeler finds Quan from the logo.
Here's Halliburton into the front court. Mishandled it, but gets a shot. Hits it. Hits it.
John, I have never been better to be on the air with you here in Indianapolis, a place where so many of my dreams have come true.
The Ride with JMV on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Hey, back in studio. Thank you all. Yesterday was fantastic. I was just talking to Hammer before the show, 93 WIBC, with Jason Allen Hammer. He was out there yesterday, and it stinks when you have to because of the circumstances of the flooding. It stinks that it's necessary because we know what happens to those that still are affected by the flooding. But, man, it is so awesome when everybody comes together. And you know me, I am a team-oriented guy. Always have been, always will be. Can't do it alone. I love being a part of a team, and in this building, that is exactly what we witnessed yesterday on the road, Kroger in Noblesville. And so a lot of you doing it, helping out a lot of people. Last check, and I haven't had an update here in the past, not quite 24 hours just yet, but I want to say it was closing in on 90,000 as of yesterday. Just an incredible effort. And seeing folks like Hammer's going on with Swift, 100.9. I'm going on with Karen Vaughn, who's legendary on WTLC. You know how much I love Indy's R&B leader. I've loved TLC forever. It was really cool. Jake and I talked about that a little bit earlier today in the crossover. But I wanted to thank each and every one of you that stopped by or donated or at whatever the circumstances might be were a part of yesterday. It was great. Really was. It stinks that people are hurting, but it was great to see those rally around those in need. Can't thank you guys enough. I really can't. Busy show for you today. The big news today, wide receiver Alec Pierce off the PUP. Rehabbing after surgery, left ankle, heel, obviously back in March. We'd wondered if he's going to be good to go. And we'll see what happens. Now, again, it's the Colts, so nobody's going to hold their breath. Who knows what the hell is going to end up happening, but he was back out there today. Mike Chappell is going to join us in the 5 o'clock hour. We'll talk about Alec Pierce being back, Charvarius Ward, the big-time question mark that is there. You know, it's funny regarding Charvarius Ward, when a lot of you suggest, hey, there's zero way the Colts believe that he's going to be in this each and every week of the season. Yeah, I don't know what they believe, but you realize how essential this is. Because this is a defense that is not a prototypical defense. You have the playmaking ability that is in the ass end of it, the back half of it. Whether you're talking about Charvarius Ward or Sauce Gardner or A.J. Halsey out of the secondary too, the rookie. Cam Bynum, a veteran playmaker in that secondary. You know, normally it is go after the quarterback and the quarterback makes bad decisions or a bad read, and then you take advantage of the secondary. Well, there's really not too much evidence that you can get after the quarterback consistently enough to make that happen. Thus, you are hoping, you are banking on the playmaking ability. The name recognizable by NFL standards playmaking ability in the secondary. That's all you really got to go on. So it is essential. But again, you're kind of numb to it because it is just yet another piece. It is another piece of that puzzle that you have amply talked about to me is, there is so much that has to go perfect, that has to go right for this group, that cannot be injured, can't be subpar, has to produce. There is so much out there. And then knowing this team, I completely understand what you believe. And while you're there, it's exactly where we are. We inch closer to the start of the season coming up on Saturday. Preseason game number 3 against the Lions. Last check, you're going to get most of the starters. Obviously, not all of the starters. No Jonathan Taylor. You're not going to see anything from Daniel Jones, but these starters will get around 8 to 12 plays coming up on Saturday. The proverbial feet wet is what's going to happen here. Just, hey, there's your introduction, and we'll see what happens in preparation for week number 1 against Baltimore. Hey, listen, the Ravens have some questions, too. As we get closer to that game, we'll get into some of those questions that the Ravens are going to have. But the problem is that the Colts have about as many questions as anybody else. Let's face it, too. If you didn't see what you did see at the beginning, the early stages of a year ago with this offense, or if you just weren't a fan around here, you would be like the rest of the world in completely downplaying what you believe this team can do. Just like anybody else. That doesn't make you a hater. You're not trying to be a jerk. You want this thing to come correct, but you just have to see it to believe it. And that has been problematic. We talked about the Pro Bowl getting bounced yesterday. I don't think anybody cares about that. What about the NBA All-Star game? Can that go too, Caleb? Can we punt that while we're at
next. That
it?
might be
punt
next.
That bad boy. Now, I will say this. NBA All-Star weekend, I think to most people is glorious. And we had that here a couple of years ago. I think everybody loves NBA All-Star weekend.
The last one that happened in L.A.,
yeah,
it wasn't awful. It was better than it had been, but I still agree with you.
Did you go?
Yeah. No.
Oh.
I was just saying the game itself, watching it.
The game.
But
no, I think they would like to have the weekend of recognition and or partying.
Yeah.
But not have to participate in a jack-around game.
Right.
I mean, seriously, that makes Tuesday night look competitive. It does. That's how bad the NBA All-Star game is. It just is. NFL reached commercial agreements. 3 sports betting operators ahead of 2026. When all you guys are going to be out of betting money? You know, it's funny. DraftKings, FanDuel, Fanatics Betting and Gaming. Look up how long sports wagering has officially been legal here in Indiana. Has it been 6 years? 5, 6 years? Has to be 6 years. I think really that helped a lot of advertisers or a lot of TV, of radio, of print. It helped people get through COVID at the time. Has it been 6 years?
7.
7 years.
Coming up on September 1st.
I have not heard, and I often wondered when we were going to get sprinkling in local stories of the side effects of that. Mostly, I'm sure, negative, but maybe there's been a positive in that. I don't know. Are you a big sports wagerer?
No. I probably haven't laid a bet in, John, it's got to be like a year and a half at this point.
Here's how I feel about it. I work too much to be giving it away. I do. And if I'm going to give it away, we're all going to get together and we're going to have cocktails or we're going to have beers or we're going to hang out. If I'm going to give it away, it's going to be for that. I'm not going to be giving it because somebody didn't score a touchdown or they kicked a field goal instead of a touchdown or, an ass-in type of cover. I do not dig the thought of working 6 and then coming up after Labor Day, 7 days a week until Thanksgiving and going, oh, yeah, here it is. Because it's not like, you guys know this, Brent and I do. That's why I leave. He's the betting analyst. So he analyzes it, and then he tells me. But there's a reason why when you follow our selections every week, you guys make fun of me. I really try, and I watch, and I consider myself knowledgeable. But, man, this stuff will kick you right square in the nuts whenever it wants, and I don't want that. I don't want it.
Did you see that ESPN, and this I think goes into a little bit of what you're talking about, John, ESPN's getting rid of the ticker on the bottom of the screen during college football games this year. You know, it has all the scores on the bottom.
Because of social media's influence, I guess, right?
Because they want people to probably check scores on their phone.
Yeah.
And I did see somebody posit this too. They said, hey, like that ticker might now become a sports betting, you know, platform right there where you have odds, lines, all that stuff. And I think to me, when you ask me, Caleb, like, have you laid a bet down? I think for me, at some point when I started getting into it, just this is my take on it. I don't need a money incentive to care about the sporting events.
I would agree with that.
Sports.
I think that's
you know
a
what
good point, yeah.
And so it crossed a line at some point where it's like, I'm watching this game because I have money on it, not just because I like sports, which is true to who I am.
Yeah.
So I think that's where I had to draw the line, you know?
We're yapping to people out there that utilize their disposable income to go to games, too. So you're already spending it, and then you're spending it even more. You know, hopefully you're making it. Maybe you are. I don't know what the stories might be out there. Maybe there's some incredibly positive stories. But we're 7 years deep now. And I don't remember, maybe I haven't paid attention. That's not out of the realm. But I don't remember a lot of stories being told, and I thought by now they would. Not a lot. The losing part, too. Like, losing sucks.
You got to stomach a lot of losing.
Yeah, and when you do that, you've got to be able to put up with a lot of losing, a lot of getting your ass whipped. I'm not down with that. Not anybody else. Like I said, if I'm going to spend money or give it away that I work hard for, much like you, it's going to be to give it to the greater good. We're going to be celebrating something or having a party or doing something. But 3 in all for the NFL this year. I don't know. How many states still have not legalized it? More than a handful, I'm assuming, right?
I don't know, John. I think coming up in September, I think it's going to be, like, DraftKings is going to be live in all 50 states.
Everybody, huh?
So I think we've passed that threshold now.
That is why when we do our fantasy football or our pick'ems, you guys, you don't lose anything. You can only gain something. Only gain. And we'll get another fantasy football participant coming up later on. Only gain something. And you, especially if you've won our league and then you've actually gotten a hold of me to pick up your prize and not let it ride in the back of my vehicle and clank around every time I go around a corner. But if you actually picked it up, you know that it's worthy. We have always called it a restock for a reason. Worthy it is.
I do have to correct this, John. I think there are still a few states that haven't legalized it from what I'm seeing right now, but just had to correct that. I don't think it's live in all 50 yet.
It's on the inbound, though.
Mm-hmm.
Should be, right? Yeah, you guys are asking me regarding Charvarius Ward, a cornerback that has gone through an ample amount of concussions, setbacks like that, that basically had 1 foot out the door to retirement, that is dealing with a chronic back situation or pain and soreness. I don't know if I should say chronic. That sounds a lot worse than maybe that it is, but pain and soreness in the back that, as he has stated, he just knows he has to deal with. Yeah, I know that doesn't sound great. And go out there and play corner and cover some of the most athletic guys in the history of the world. I know that doesn't sound great. There are better sounds in that. There's no doubt. We'll follow that story Follow that story, and then obviously talk to Mike Chappell about that coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. Shout out to Joe. Drive down to JMV country to meet family for lunch at Fat Daddy's in Scotland. I know, Joe, exactly where you are. Scotland, Indiana, right next to Crane. You can go into Crane. And a lot of people that I know work at Crane and have incredible careers at the Crane Naval Base. Fat Daddy's is in Scotland, Indiana, where there used to be right next door. Actually, Fat Daddy's used to be called Tooties back in the day. Tooties in the day. And they also had a Snapper lawn mowing brand store there for decades. No longer open. Your family have a Snapper as a lawnmower?
I don't think so.
The Snapper. Snapper was a big deal back in the day. I have a Snapper. Yeah, it was that one that had an engine and, there was nothing up front. There was the engine wasn't in the front. It was in the back. Right, the lawnmower. The Snapper. I'm assuming Snappers are still sold, right, as riding lawnmowers?
I know we did have a riding lawnmower, but the engine in the back is a concept that is breaking my brain right now.
The Snappers, it was one of the more prominent lawn tractors. Now, again, as lawns have become larger and the need for large, like, for example, I've got a Spartan that's got like a 65-inch cut and goes about 35 miles an hour. I've got 4 acres to mow, so we're going to do that in a big-ass hurry. The Snapper would take me about 3 weeks to mow my yard. And while I love the Snapper back in the day, that would, because the Snappers are normally you could probably walk faster than the Snappers go, I would imagine.
Didn't Forrest Gump ride one of those?
He did. Forrest Gump was on a Snapper. And if you watch, go back to that film, he was mowing probably less than somebody walking. He left a lot of thatch behind, too. I always thought that was problematic. You don't go mowing the football field and leave a bunch of thatch in the wake, do you? Come on. C. Fitz says, have you declared week 1 a must-win yet? If so, it is a must-win game the first 8 weeks. Brother, I will say this. I'm not going to declare anything of the first 5, for example. Must-win, because I think the first 5 are incredibly problematic. I think, C. Fitch, this is about survival in the first 5. Survival of not the fittest, but survival of how fit you plan on being this season. Because the start of the schedule, you're talking about Baltimore, on the road, Sunday Night Football in Kansas City. You imagine how euphoric everybody's going to be. And, hey, look, there's Mahomes. Everybody's back. Oh, it's going to be a Sunday nighter. So you've got Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, and then we'll see what C.J. Stroud is going to be this year. Everybody's kind of walked on him a little bit. He's been walked on in the offseason. And as we've talked about yesterday, if you missed Brian Baldinger, podcast 1075thefan.com, Brian Baldinger calls Houston's defense the best in the NFL. And then you have Jaden Daniels, and when healthy, it's tough. Obviously a situation in London. And then you got whatever Pittsburgh is going to hand out for you. All the reunited souls of Mike McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers. Yeah.
I know you like to call stuff a must-win job, but what does their record have to be in your mind for them in those first 5?
You at the first 5, you at the very least have to win 2. I'd like to see them go 3-2. I think you need to go 3-2. Now, the reason why I wouldn't say I would suggest you go 2-3, because I think some of the schedule, and we'll see how things play out, you've got some management capabilities, especially in the latter portions of the season. But again, this is just eyeballing it in the present. Some of these teams may end up being a hell of a lot better. And I would also suggest this. I would suggest that you show some signs, or it's going to be nothing but Cowboy fans. What is the date of that Dallas Cowboys game when absolutely everybody in the world around here will sell their tickets? Seriously,
November 8th.
That November the 8th. So you've got to have, I think, ample reason for the Colts fans to be invested, or you're going to be going elsewhere with those. That's going to be a house. It's probably going to be a house full of Cowboys fans anyway. But if you have a struggling team or a team of make-believe, that is going to be entirely problematic. JMV, I think the gas station in Crane right off the Redneck Audubon is the busiest gas station in America. In the day, brother, it used to be called Time Oil. Now it is absolutely the busiest gas station in America. And I would love to see, I don't know if you can look this up. I would assume that gas station / convenience store and mild-mannered truck stop that's right there at 231 and 69 on the Redneck Audubon. Southern Indiana, southwestern Indiana, Greene County. I would love to know in terms of how much convenience stores and gas stations make. That place absolutely prints cash. I don't know who ends up with that, but it prints money. Prints it. Oh, you go in there, everybody eats lunch there. Okay, you go, you got to get chicken. I got to get a burger. Green beans, mashed, anything you want's right there. Hell, I can't even remember what it's called right now. But you guys know what it is. I mean, hell, it's really the only place to get gas. If you don't get gas right there, you're probably going to run out somewhere if you're going southbound. So true. Wes Reynolds chimes in, quote, "Oh, there is no truce. There is no truce." If you guys are watching right now, I showed you yesterday Chris Owens, who used to work at WNDE when I was there, and also with the Colts. This right here, are you guys looking? This is the DAT, the digital audio tape, the original. This is it, as Kenny Logan said. And right here, I just sent out the photo, Polian/Moore 12/12/01. This is it, the original. And as Jason Hammer said before the show, that should be in the Smithsonian. This is it. Now, I don't know. We've knocked around ideas of having some fun with it. I'd probably have to ask if we can have fun with it, because I don't know whose rights these may. I'm assuming the Colts in general. But we'd love to get Jay Moore on here about this. That'd be fantastic. Polian Moore. This is the original. This is not a copy. Not something you can find, I know, easily on the internet. This is the original. It's on a DAT, digital audio tape. Polian Moore, December 2001. Litzy chimes in. The Junction is what it's called. Charlie Biggs Chicken. You ever had Charlie Biggs Chicken? Are you a big fan of convenience store chicken? I think Charlie Biggs is right up there in terms of convenience store chicken. It's a pretty big deal. It's like, I think Charlie Biggs is the chicken equivalent in a convenience store as Hunt Brothers Pizza. You know what I mean? It's kind of what it's like.
Charlie Biggs, I feel like there's other versions of this that I've heard before.
Like there's a Chester's, I think.
Roasters, I don't know.
Yeah, there are a couple of different ones out there. True. The Junction is what it's called. All right, do some math for me. If we go back to this date in 1991, is that 35 years? 35 years ago?
Yes. Yep.
So 35 years ago today, we were in the midst of a month-long period that sprouted some of the greatest music, greatest albums of our time. Blood Sugar Sex Magic, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Nirvana, Nevermind, I think Use Your Illusions 1 and 2 from GNR. Metallica is in there too. Soundgarden, Bad Motorfinger. Seriously, some of the great rock. Even if you're not a deeply rooted hard rock or alternative fan, some of the greatest albums of not just our time, but any time. in a month-long span back in 1991. And another celebrates an anniversary today. Caleb, are you aware, as a member of the younger generation, of the debut album effort from Pearl Jam and 10? Do you know Pearl Jam 10, the album? 10.
I know a little bit of Pearl Jam. I didn't know that
the
was the name
song.
of the album.
We've got to play classics from Pearl Jam 10 today.
Got it.
Whether we're talking Alive, Even Flow, Jeremy. I think Once is a part of that too. Black.
I was going to say, I know Black.
Is Ocean Perch on that too? What am I thinking of? I don't have it in front of me right now.
You got some Even Flow.
Oh, yeah. Pearl Jam 10. Now, do you know the story behind Pearl Jam? I know everybody out there, the older generation, does. You know, Pearl Jam's original name was Mookie Blaylock. You know Mookie Blaylock, the former NBA player.
Oh.
They were called, because they're all basketball fans, Mookie Blaylock. And then you could not be, once you got to a certain level, named Mookie Blaylock. So their album was called 10, honoring Mookie Blaylock's number 10. They were Mookie Blaylock, Pearl Jam, and 10. This date, 1991. So that's 35 years ago?
35 years ago.
That's incredible. 35 years ago today. We'll play some classics from that. Significant day, and really a month. If you love music like I do, this was, for the most part, a month long of absolute greatness and album releases. It non-stinking stop. Pearl Jam 10. Anybody out there? Generation X, where would you rank Pearl Jam 10? Maybe you've heard it so much that you get tired of it. But to me, it's easily top 5 all time. But see, I'm also, as you well know, a huge fan of Soundgarden and Bad Motorfinger. I'm a huge fan of Facelift. Facelift and Alice in Chains, I believe, was last week. There's another one you could add. Last week, Facelift and Alice in Chains, celebrating an anniversary. Just big moments in music history during that time. I'm assuming you could probably find some moments in music history where something was as good, but listen, you'd have to debate me on it. I don't know if there has been. This month-long period, 1991. Pearl Jam 10, celebrating 35 years today. All right, 239-1070. If you guys want to chime in, you can. 317-239-1070 is the number. That is the text line, which is wide open right now, too. Another fantasy football position we shall give away coming up later on. Tomorrow, Mucky Duck, 65 in Southport. This is a Bud Light Blue Friday. I've got a lot of explaining to do because you're going to love it this year. Not only tickets to Colts games, for example, I believe Ravens tickets were going to be given away, but the football toss is going to be worthy of one big damn deal at the end of the year. And as we're always trying to do, me, this show, Caleb, the fan, Zinc, Bud Light, as we're always trying to do, we're trying to give you the best in experiences, enjoyment, and fun. This is a big damn deal. I'll explain a little bit later on. Mucky Duck coming up tomorrow, 65 and Southport Road. That is the initial Bud Light Blue Friday. It's coming up. All right, quick break. We'll come back. All right, we got a check-in from Vegas. Man, will Vegas be the greatest place of all time to be once the A's get there and then the NBA is there? Is there going to be a better place? Like, people always say Vegas is already the best anyway.
This is a tie into our sports gambling conversation
Yeah, well,
earlier.
yeah. That's 7 years ago. But no, seriously, around here. But with Vegas, is it going to be the greatest sports city? Professional sports city.
If they have some success, the best team there right now, it's looking like it's the Aces. Outside of that, the A's and the Raiders need to get better.
I don't know. I know how invested they are in the Golden Knights. Are they?
I guess they
are they
would be- yeah,
invested
you're
enough
right.
as fans there, or not? People
They
that
might
are just
be-
in and out of town every weekend. People that don't live there. Do they have enough with roots of a fan
I don't know.
base to be called one of the greatest?
That would be the question, because it seems like there might be a lot of fair weather people out in Vegas, especially with some of these new franchises. But if you got some hardcore fans, yeah, there may not be a better place to be.
Can you imagine the opportunity as he seized a year ago for Fernando Mendoza, the number 1 overall selection by the Raiders, who's going to get a little bit of a run tonight, as we saw a little bit earlier. So the opportunity Fernando Mendoza has to take over a place that is taking over professional sports. Ryan McFadden, ESPN Vegas, the Raiders reporter. We're going to get a check-in on Mendoza and just the overall sports landscape in that market. That's coming up at the 4 o'clock hour. As I mentioned, Mike Chappell is going to join us after 5. Yeah, you saw that a little bit earlier, too. Alec Pierce is back. We'll get into that. Practice today off the PUP. Preparation for the Lions preseason game 3. And are the red flags still waving regarding Charvarius Ward? Comments from Ward and more. All that coming up. And fantasy football positions for you as well in our league this season. All coming up. Hey, don't go anywhere. 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. Sit tight. Connecticut Water Systems to the rescue. Without Connecticut, what are we doing? Seriously, how is your water? You're going to say, I think my water's just fine. Maybe it's not. It could be better, especially if you don't have Connecticut. I've told you before what Connecticut has done for me. Can you imagine living on a well in Morgan County? The water's right out of the creek. Seriously, right out of the creek. And what Connecticut has done to transform my water, the drinkability, the washability, the bathability. It's incredible. So consider what Connecticut motivated for you can do. Get them in, Connecticut.com, your home today for that free water test. They're going to find out what they can do for you. Nothing generic. This is specific to your home water needs, and voila. You will have the best water possible with Connecticut. But first things first, sign up. My man Joe can help you out too. That in-home water test today, Connecticut.com. Hey, have you heard about Big Red Liquors? Of course you have. It powers the JMV takeover every Saturday night. That is the ultra incredible, just like this, like Michelob Ultra, the superior light beer, the superior all request show, because really it's the one and only nationwide, the JMV takeover, powered by Big Red Liquors. And speaking of Michelob Ultra, great deals on that right now, ice cold and ready to go at the 100 plus locations of Big Red Liquors throughout the state of Indiana. In fact, 19 new here in the Indy area. More on those red hot deals: Michelob Ultra, Bud Light, Coors Light. You've got Miller Lite products as well, all with great deals. And how about Jefferson's Bourbon? Have you guys had this? It's choice. It really is. $8 off. Some JD 175 action, $5 in savings. Hey, I am trying to set the stage for you to have one heck of a weekend. It starts with Big Red Liquors. 100-plus locations, state of Indiana, one near you, powers the JMV takeover every Saturday night. That's on B105.7. To find that location nearest you, that's BigRedLiquors.com.
The Ride with JMV.
Thank you for your support.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Man, this date, 35 years ago today, we were all introduced to one of the great songs from Pearl Jam 10. This is Even Flow. Turn this up really quick. I love this song.
You hit the post again.
I love when they just come out and just, hey! It just comes out hard. Yeah. Eddie Vedder at lead, Stone Gossard, Jeff Ament. Both those guys were a part of Mother Love Bone before they transitioned into Mookie Blaylock and then ultimately Pearl Jam. In fact, they were Mookie Blaylock until March of 91. And then once they went into studios to produce 10 and create 10, they changed their name to Pearl Jam. True story. And I mentioned, too, over a 44-day period, you had Metallica's Metallica, which we all know was the Black Album. You had that Nothing Else Matters. Inner Sandman. Pearl Jam 10. I think Metallica's came out the 12th of August, 91. Pearl Jam 10, August 27th, 91. September the 17th of 91, you had GNR, Use Your Illusions 1 and 2. Red Hot Chili Peppers, Blood, Sugar, Sex, Magic, September 24th, 91. And Soundgarden, Bad Motorfinger, September the 24th, 1991. Nirvana, Nevermind. That always gets all the recognition, but it had a lot of help. Nevermind, September 24th, 1991. That is one hell of a 44-day span of music.
Yeah, Low End Theory, September 24th, I'm seeing.
Look at you going.
Tribe Called Quest.
Are you going in there too, buddy? Well done. Look at you rocking the Tribe in there, man. Well
do you expect less of me here, or what?
How would you survive back then with all that music coming at you? We had to buy CDs. The Columbia House was still open as it just closed last week
and
after
again,
decades.
I'll tie this into our conversation in the first segment. You talk about throwing your money away on sports betting. You were throwing a lot of money away on CDs.
Well, in Terre Haute, I went to Indiana State, and they had it's kind of like near the Hostess Bakery here. It used to have like a thrift store where you could buy stuff cheaper, right? They had a Columbia House version of that in Terre Haute, where you could just go through and thumb through a lot of CDs. And sometimes you would find amazing buys, much cheaper than you would find anyplace else, like where I used to go in Terre Haute called Headstones. Headstones had music, CDs and tapes back then, but also big bongs. and the bongs were sold under the thought that they were decorative. Would you like to purchase this decorative bong? Decorative bong, yeah. Just like you walk in, you got your lamp and your couch and your chair and your coffee table and your bong on top of it. Decorative. The bong. Hey, by the way, Phil wants to know your X handle. You want to give your X handle out there to everybody.
This could be opening up Pandora's box here.
Caleb, the producer's X handle is as follows. Go.
At Zoovs, Zuves 35.
Zoovs 35. What's that stand for? Zoover, and then what's the 35 part?
When I was really young, that used to be my basketball number because I loved Kevin Durant when I was younger. So that doesn't stand anymore. I mean, I appreciate his game, but he's not like my favorite player ever like he used to be. So, but that's stuck around.
Once upon a time, Kevin Durant was your favorite player. So that's why you went with 35.
Yeah, like when I was in fourth grade, man.
I go with JMV 1070, and that is in honor of the former AM signal.
Yeah.
That still powers out about 2 watts on top of the empty-ass building downtown.
Now, let me ask you this. Yeah. How many followers do you think I'm going to gain here in the next 10 minutes if you had to say?
You're not going to – I'm going to set the over-under at 4.
Okay.
I'm going to take the under.
All right.
You will not get massive – I want you to follow this, too. I'm taking the under. I'm going to set the number as 4.
Okay.
4 followers for Zoovs 35.
That is correct.
Zoovs 35
You nailed
right
it.
there. And you see, people may just do it as motivation to prove me wrong. But I'm going to set the over-under at 4. I'll take the under.
Well, we're already
'Cause
at 2, so
I don't know how motivated folks are out there to do it.
we got 2 right now, so we're already inching close.
Oh, man. Chad Huff says, by the way, Headstones also had an incredible black light room. Indeed, it did. Anybody ever buy a decorative bong from Headstones in Terre Haute? You had to. Wheatley writes this, I foresee 1-4 in the first 5 for the Colts. The Cowboys game ticket prices are outrageous. Gouging us Cowboys fans. That place is going to be, and that's why it is essential if you don't want a massive, for everybody, embarrassment in that Cowboys game. And I know what you're going to say. They're going to come anyway. They're going to come anyway. It doesn't matter. But if you are a team that nobody believes in, that everybody is going, that appears to be done already, that place is going to be rotten with Cowboys fans. And they're going to pay the price. And I've seen the price tags, the availability there. I know we're looking ahead a long way, but the only true way that you can squash a lot of that is to see your team play well. The only way.
Well, was it 2 years ago, John, where I think like the Lions were around here? There were some other teams that were kind of close by that came. I think the Bears played here, and it was bad. The amount of opposing fans that were in Lucas Oil Stadium.
Well, this would be really bad. So, especially you got people that need to be proven. They have to be proved. You have to go out, and that first 5-game stretch, that's how you don't completely sidestep it, because Cowboys fans are going to find their way in. But maybe you dial down the level of embarrassment that it will be if you start out like a lead balloon. That's true. All right, 239-1070. If you guys want to jump on board, you certainly can. I mentioned Ryan McFadden coming up at the top of the hour. Is it going to be the greatest professional sports city ever? Vegas. Once you get Major League Baseball, you end up getting the NBA. Fernando Mendoza. Frisco and Vegas later on tonight. That is on something called ESPN Unlimited. What the hell is that?
Great question. I don't know.
NFL Network has Pittsburgh and Buffalo tonight. Prime Video has New England and Cleveland. How would Cleveland float the boat of anybody out there? NFL Network has the Rams and the Chargers later on tonight. The Colts come at you. That's on Sunday. We start 10 a.m., the Colts pregame huddle. American Family Insurance Touchdown Town. That's going to be me, Casey Valier, Joe Wrights, and Bill Brooks, Rick Venturi. We'll lead you up to countdown to kickoff with Matt Taylor and with Charles Arbuckle. And, of course, preseason game 3 shortly thereafter. 1 o'clock that start with the Lions and the Colts. Good news for the Colts today with Alec Pierce being back. And we're still skeptical regarding the situation surrounding Charvarius Ward for sure. My friend Kurt Casper says Pearl Jam's 10, top 3 all time. I said top 5, top 3. I could probably work that in there too. That's true. And a shout out to Tucker Barnhart, who has added this, met Eddie Vedder in spring training with the Cubs. Sat and told stories for hours in the clubhouse. Absolute A-plus dude. Tucker Barnhart showed me a picture of the Eddie Vedder signed guitar that he has right now. I would agree with that. See, and it is great because I say this all the time. Sports fans, historically, to a person, are also high-level music fans. It is the merging the best of both worlds. Seriously. It's your bourbon and your soft drink. It's your peanut butter and your chocolate. It's the merging of elite level things. Music and sports. Man, Eddie Vedder probably does that better than anybody. Pearl Jam 10, 35 years as of today. Quick break, we'll come back. I mentioned, too, a little Raiders report, Fernando Mendoza and more. Ryan McFadden, top of the hour. Again, Raiders and Frisco. That's later on tonight in the preseason. And Mike Chappell, more on the return of Alec Pierce and a lot more about this team and what we're going to witness coming up in preseason Game 3. That's on Saturday. Don't go anywhere. It's 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. Hey, John here for Andy Moore, Buick GMC. That's 131st State Road 37 in Fishers. I rolled past there yesterday. They have so many new incredible rides. I know I talk up the hottest manufacturer auto-wise in the country right now. That's Buick. But, man, have you checked out the GMC products, too? You're going to find something, and I mean something there for you at the price range that is perfect for you and your family and your budget. I mention all the time the Buick Enclave. It, to me, is the best SUV I have ever had. Everything for you. It can load up almost 81-year-old G Mama and take her to the doctor this morning. Hey, it is multi-purpose, baby. Imagine what it can do for you. And the price tag. The incentives to buy, which is a big fat coupon of savings, and the service after the sale. I'm telling you, the Buick Enclave, it's legit. Check it out today. Tell my friend Eric Wilson I sent you to Andy Moore Buick GMC, 131st State Road 37 in Fishers.
The Ride with JMV.
You guys can stick that, too. Seriously. You guys want to stick that? Stick that one where the sun don't shine.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
We have ourselves a situation around the Madison-Hancock County line. Have we heard about this situation yet? Crank this up for me. Something's on the loose. God, I love this song.
I ain't never seen you clap your hands
Canadian group Saga and On the Loose from 1983. This is an original one-hit wonder right here. You can leave this up as I talk this up. So there's evidently, last check, a lion and cub on the loose along the Hancock-Madison County line. A lion and a cub. Is it a lioness or a lion? Like a male or female, do we know? And it's still on the loose last check, right?
Yeah, this is just from an hour ago, so I don't think the story's been updated.
Hey,
I didn't know where you were going with that because you didn't say anything about that.
Like, this is, I would give this disclaimer in Greene County. Hey, hillbillies, don't go out there and go hunt. I mean, no.
Right.
Let's bring this thing home safely. Let's bring them both home safely. All right, don't get yourself in trouble out there, but don't turn this into hillbilly turkey shoot or anything here, all right? I can't imagine if this would be announced or happening in Greene County. I think part of Greene County around me thinks that lions are probably running around in the woods anyway. Probably find some ginseng hunters. Anybody own ample property? Seriously, that's one thing. My mom has 40 acres near Crane, and 38 of these acres are wooded, and she has not seen in 40 years. And every year, I kind of wonder if meth is being made back there, so I'll walk back there. But dudes will be walking around doing something called ginseng hunting. They're looking for ginseng root and then selling it. Just walking around with some little shovel and pulling it out. Ginseng root.
You got to get me down to Greene County.
Oh, Lord of mercy.
Am I not a Hoosier until I experience a day?
Ginseng. Seriously, one guy came out and go, "Hey, man, what are you doing back there?" "I'm just ginseng hunting." I go, "Are you? I'm sorry, you own that, do you, huh?" I don't want to be too over the top because my mom actually has to live down there. What do they say? Don't blank where you eat. Ginseng hunting. I'd have to look up exactly what somebody can get for a pound of ginseng. But they crawl all over our property this time of year for that reason. Yeah. Madison County right now. A lion and a cub on the loose. Let's have a positive result of this, everybody. How about that? Mike Chappell, 5 o'clock hour. Seems to be positive regarding Alec Pierce. Maybe a little bit more cloudy regarding Charvarius Ward. Fever coming up tomorrow night. Final game before they hit the Fever break for the better part of, 15 or so days. And then the tail end of the regular season after that. Fever and Connecticut. That is coming up tomorrow. 7:30 pregame right here on The Fan is at 7 o'clock. And we're going to be starting a Bud Light Blue Friday tomorrow officially. Bud Light Blue Friday, 65 at Southport Road. The Mucky Duck, who is in. I want to see everybody there. That's one hell of a way to start a weekend. Mucky Duck, Bud Light Blue Friday. Your chance to win Colts tickets with me tomorrow. 93.5, 107.5, The Fan. Hey, Mark Dito Realty. That is the best in realty. And if you're thinking about doing something with your property, maybe you need more. You just simply put, you're growing the fam. You need more space. 317-755-4232. MarkDietel.com. MarkDietel.com today. Sure, that makes sense, but maybe your kids are now off to college, and you don't need all that room any longer. Empty nesters, you want to downsize? Mark Dietel is the best to do that, too. Mark Dietel is the only real estate expert I trust and recommend with the sale of my home. Mark Dietel guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed-upon price or deadline, or he will buy it. Pick your move date. There are no long-term contracts, and you can cancel at any time. It's Mark Dietel, Mark Dietel Realty. You need it now? Use the number 317-755-4232. For later, save that number. MarkDietel.com, MarkDietel.com today.
The Ride with JMV.
Sky rockets in flight. Afternoon delight. You guys have it, I think. Afternoon delight.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
35 years ago today, Pearl Jam 10 unleashed upon the general public with musical greatness that has stood the test of time. Is Eddie Vedder going to call in? You're going to get Stone. If you can get like anybody from Pearl Jam on before 6 o'clock, I'll have them give you a raise.
You put me in a tough spot, John.
I will go down the hall. I'm like Costanza, remember? Yeah. I'm giving you a raise. Nah, one of the Pearl Jam guys, 35 years ago today. One of the more influential albums of not just our time, but anybody's time. By the way, Caleb, too. That's Caleb. I'm John. How many followers that are all new do you have? Zoov's 35 right now.
15.
15
and you said
new
4
I
was the
said
line.
4. I took the under on 4. Is there any
Thanks for
way
that.
they get you to 50 new followers today? Can you guys get Caleb to, and I don't
Okay.
if it's porn
All right.
bots or whatever, get him
All
to
right,
50 new
yeah.
followers. See if you can. At Zoov's 35. Porn bots unite. By the way, Caleb, before we get to Ryan, I asked this question because there's all kinds of hillbillies on my mom's property in Greene County, quote, hunting for ginseng. Wild American ginseng generally sells for $400 to $800 per pound for dried roots, while green, fresh, wild ginseng ranges from $180 to $430. So no wonder they're all over my mom's property digging up stuff. $400 to $800 for this ginseng stuff. I don't even know what it does. Have to look that up, doctor. See why it is so popular. Meantime, Mike Chappell's coming up at the 5 o'clock hour. Alec Pierce back at practice off PUP. We've got that, and then the Lions on the inbound coming up on Saturday, preseason game number 3. Preseason matchup later on tonight. Vegas and the Niners. Let's give a check-in on what I believe to be, in the not-so-distant future, America's number 1 professional sports market, because it is locked and loaded to become that with absolutely everything. But in this case, our guest Ryan McFadden, ESPN Las Vegas, covers the Raiders, and I think Fernando Mendoza in conversation about that will do. And Ryan joins us on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Good afternoon, Ryan. How are you?
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for having me.
Tell me this. Is it in the not-so-distant future that the city in which you report regarding the Raiders will become the best, the biggest, most noted professional sports market in America?
You have to make an argument that'll be up there at some point, because you got the Las Vegas Raiders, you have the Golden Knights who's established themselves already as a pretty good hockey team. You got the Las Vegas Aces, who's right now is a dynasty in the WNBA. You're expecting an NBA team on the way, and then you got the Las Vegas, the Las Vegas Athletics going to be playing here in the near future in their stadium currently in development. So when you add that into being at a hot spot for Super Bowl is going to be here in 2029, national championship is going to be here in the wintertime. You got, I think the NCAA tournament is going to be here in the near future, the NBA Cup. Yeah, you can make that, you can make that argument at some point. This is going to be a booming sports market. It's just a matter of, I think the key to that will be the Las Vegas Raiders and, being able to be like a competitive team and giving, this fan, the people out here a reason to root for them, because, the Raiders fan base is really big, in Oakland, LA, in California. It's, they're still working their way to establish themselves here in Las Vegas. Part of doing that is building a sustainable winner. So I think once the Raiders are able to create a track record for themselves to being like a team that, when fans out here turn on on TV every Sunday, they know that the Raiders have a chance to compete for a playoff spot. I think that will also be beneficial in terms of growing this sports market.
So Ryan McFadden covers the Raiders for ESPN out of Vegas. He's on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. I'm going to get to one. I think the key reason you just brought up with the Raiders in mind, and, obviously we know that the quarterback position is going to be influential on what ultimately happens and how they're viewed. But is the fan base in Vegas, is it like the way that the Raider fan base was, for example, in Southern California or in Oakland? Is it black hole-esque? And for all the teams in Vegas, are there enough in Vegas in general who just don't come and leave every week or every weekend to sustain that many most prominent professional franchises?
I think I'll take you to a game day experience for the Raiders. It's just, I'll be honest, when they play against the Cowboys, the Broncos, and the Chiefs, the opposing side outweighs the number of Raiders fans here. And I think part of that is that the product the Raiders have put on the field for the last few seasons. And another thing too is like you said, that their fan base is out there in the Bay, it's out there in LA. So California is where where the heart of the Raiders are. So do I think it's impossible for them to change that? No, I don't. I think anytime you start bringing in a winning culture, and you give fans a reason to hope, and you hope that Mendoza, being the future face of the franchise, can actually like ignite that type of hope and spirit, and he comes off as he has the makings of it, right? But it's at the end of the day for them to like turn things around where you go to a Raiders game, and the Raiders fans outweigh the number of opposing team fans. It's going to come down to winning. So yeah, I think when it comes here, they've had their challenges so far. They're making a ton of money. Don't get me wrong. The Raiders, Mark Davis, it's been a really big move. It's a successful move for him to move the team to Las Vegas. But it's just they still have to put a winning product for the people out here to kind of like buy in truly.
So Ryan McFadden, Raiders and Frisco preseason later on this evening. I love Fernando Mendoza for a variety of reasons. What he brought in one season in Bloomington, and an incredible national championship for IU football that nobody in their wildest dreams ever felt could take place. But beyond that, I love his personality. I love that he is different, Ryan. I love the way he answers questions. He conducts interviews. And I love it for the most part because it is 100% authentic. This is not made for TV or anything. This is his personality. How have you, in your interactions with him, how have you felt personality-wise he comes off as what is going to be the leader of that franchise for years to come?
Yeah, that's all going to depend on how he does on the field, but like he has the makings of like his demeanor, how he talks, how he approaches things, how he asks questions. As someone who looks like is going to be a tremendous leader and a great figurehead for this franchise moving forward. And you hit on that point. Yeah, it's authentic. And you talk to players, and players are asked this early on. Like, I forgot the player who said, I think it was Trey Tucker, like he wasn't sure how Mendoza was gonna, like he saw him on TV, but he wasn't sure how he was gonna act inside the building. And once he got in, and like, oh, this is really who he is, right? So, this is 100% him. I think one thing it's very impressive for someone to come into the league that so well media trained, right? Like a lot of young guys, they're going to take their ups and downs in terms of how they conduct themselves in the media, but he comes in so fully prepared. And that's something that's translated throughout everything he does. He is so prepared. He's prepared in the meeting rooms, in terms of he's prepared when he goes out there on the practice field in the game. He's even prepared how he dresses the media, and in terms of giving very good responses, and giving out responses that kind of go viral and got people buying into him. So yeah, it's 100% authentic. The players love it. As media members, you love it too, because he's going to give you a lot of good stuff every time he hits the mic or hits the podium. So yeah, everything about Mendoza. It seems like a guy that has the makings of being like the face of a franchise type of player. It's just, to me, I think it's just a matter of now, can you have the look, you have that vibe about you. Now it's about, can you do it on the football field and win us games? That's going to be the key moving forward for him.
Ryan, this is not suggesting at all Max Crosby's a bad dude, because he isn't. But have we ever witnessed two personalities so stratospherically different on the same team as Crosby and Mendoza here?
No, it's crazy. It's like something off a TV show. Like it's something off of like a TV show. If you would have had if you was writing a scripted series about a football team, I think you would pick the Raiders as your team, because you got Kirk Cousins, who's kind of similar to Mendoza, but he's like one of the oldest guys in the locker room, so he kind of gives off his dad vibe. You have this quirky young face of the franchise in Mendoza, who's super smart. I call him like a football nerd. And you got like the tough guy in the room in Max Crosby, who's been around, for quite a bit, kind of like, he's the guy in the locker room, the guy everyone looks up to, but he's night and day from your two quarterbacks. So no, it's like, it's pretty funny, but everyone gels everyone gels pretty well. It doesn't, it's like it doesn't hurt anything in the locker room. Everyone likes one another. But it's when I think about the Raiders, when you see them, it literally reminds me of if I was writing a scripted series of a football team for a comedy show. This was the team I would probably base my show off of.
Ryan, it's authenticity though too. This is nothing that's made up. It's not made for TV or made for interviews or made for branding or social impact. It's just who these guys are. And I think when you have that broad of a spectrum of personalities in your locker room, that to me can only be a good thing.
Yeah, I think so. And these are guys that people respect as leaders. You have Kirk Cousins, who's a guy who's been around the Kubiak offense for quite a bit. He worked with Clint Kubiak and Gary. He played with Clint and Gary Kubiak during his time in Minnesota. And then, Max Crosby, he's one of the longest tenure Raiders, one of the best edge rushers in the league. And he's someone that, when he walks in, he demands that attention. There's guys that really buy into him. We got young guys like Tonka Hemingway, Jonah Laulu. There's young guys, young defensive linemen who've been with this team for 1, 2, 3 seasons. And they have really Max Crosby's taking them under their wing, and they're trying to learn from him and feed off of him and how he approaches the game. He approaches it with so much intensity and so much fire and passion that like a lot of guys are trying to feed off of that, and hopefully can translate that into their game. So yeah, I think that having the different personalities and dynamics is really good because it to me, I think it touches a lot of people a little bit more. It's not just touching one specific person with this personality. You're able to touch a bunch of people and still relay the same message.
Ryan McFadden joins us, covers the Raiders, ESPN in Las Vegas. He's with us via the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. So was Mendoza in the time you have seen, and I'm assuming later on tonight there's going to be even more time under center, but has he been so far and progressed so far the way that you thought as he started camp as a rookie in general?
Yes, I'll give you a quote. I'll take you back to like a couple of days ago when Raiders center Tyler Linderbaum spoke to the media, and someone asked him about like, oh, how has Mendoza played under center? He said, yeah, I haven't had any problems, and he did not know that Mendoza only took 5 snaps under center throughout his college career. He said, I did not. You would have never known that. So he's really picked up better than it. He's really picked that up quicker than a lot of people may have expected, to the point where guys who might not know about Mendoza's college past to like the little bits of numbers, like, he won a national championship, won a Heisman, and did all those great things and was a solid QB in Cal. But like, there's certain stuff like how many under center snaps he had in college. That not a lot of players might not know that. So Linderbaum was completely shocked to see a guy who took under 10 snaps in that area, and he looks as comfortable as he is. So no, he's made tremendous progress, and it goes to his preparation and how he's constantly studies the game, constantly asking questions, trying to get that feedback from coaches and players. Like he's like, they call him like a sponge in the meeting rooms because he's trying to soak up so much information because they're asking him to do a lot, especially in this Kubiak offense, and he's doing whatever it takes, early mornings, late nights, just to get a firm grasp of this offense. So whenever his number is called to be the starter, which we expect to be at some point this year, he'll be ready to go, and he'll be 100%. He'll be fully confident in his ability to exceed at this level.
Will Clint Kubiak at all try to maximize some of what we witnessed when he spent that year in Bloomington with Kurt Cignetti offensively, or is this all going to be new and according to the Raiders here?
This is all going to be new and going to be all Kubiak. He runs this West Coast offense where he hails from the Shanahan tree, so he runs his own version of that. Where you're going to see a lot of outside zone scheme with the running on the outside to kind of move defenses vertically and and then incorporate the play action game. So when you have they're trying to keep defenses off guard, so you assume that they're going to run the ball, and they create plays in the middle, passing plays in the middle of the field because their emphasis is running the ball, so it opens the door for those play action passes. So yeah, it's something that Mendoza is learning. There is not a situation where they're looking at what he did at Indiana or what he did at Cal, and how do we incorporate that into our game plan? No, this is Kubiak's thing, and Mendoza has to learn it. And Mendoza that's one thing about him. He's a great processor. He's a great student of the game, and his skill set fits the scheme as well. So when you couple his skill set matches with like the way he prepares, I think it's allowed him to kind of like get adjusted to the system. So no, I don't see it's a situation where where Kubiak is incorporating some college stuff from Indiana to his game plan. No, this is what he did in Seattle, what he's done in like New Orleans and Minnesota, and what he's accustomed to seeing his dad do with Denver Broncos and as a play caller there. That's all a combination of that, and Mendoza just trying to learn it and learn it to the best of his ability.
Hey, Ryan, what's Aiden O'Connell's situation with this team?
It's an intriguing situation. So I think it comes down to two ways. I don't think they would outright cut him. I don't think that's like I think Aiden's had a pretty solid training camp to the point where two things can happen. I think he either stays and they keep three quarterbacks on the roster or they trade him. And they might just keep him until they find a trade partner, maybe, or like at some point during the regular season if they don't find one at at the roster cut down deadline. It'll be shocking to see if they just say, hey, just pack your bags and just go. It's hard to imagine that. And I could be wrong too, but just from what I've seen, I think the Raiders are probably better suited to see either you keep them or you see like a team like, the Detroit Lions, you look at the Miami Dolphins, maybe the Atlanta Falcons, they got two quarterbacks who've had their fair share of injury histories. And do teams like that want to reach out to the Raiders and say, hey, we will give you a late round pick to bring in O'Connell, who has started, he's a backup quarterback, but he's a backup quarterback with starting experience. And that's kind of, that's valuable in this league, especially in the league where there's a lot of injuries. So I think from what we've seen, especially if you go back to that game against the Houston Texans where he led the Raiders down the field for a go ahead scoring drive. I think stuff like that and the tape he's been putting together in training camp. I think his training camp has been a lot better than what it was last year under Pete Carroll and Chip Kelly. I think there's a chance where if they believe that they don't need three quarterbacks and they can stick with Mendoza and Kirk Cousins, I think it wouldn't be surprising if the Raiders try to entertain trade calls for O'Connell. And like I said, a quarterback with starting experience in a league where you always have to be cautious, mindful of injuries. I think that's huge.
So, again, Ryan McFadden covers the Raiders in Vegas for ESPN with us via the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. The trifecta would be Roman Hemby, running back, E.J. Williams, wide receiver. Give me the combination of thoughts on these guys, a couple of which just trying to be a part of this organization.
I'll say this. I'm a University of Maryland alum.
Yeah.
And I would love to see Roman Hemby crack the 53-man roster spot just as much as the folks down in Indiana would too. But I think he has a shot. It's just, Ashton Genty's injured. I think they're going to keep four running backs on the initial 53-man roster. That's what I predicted. It'll probably come down to either him or Dyer, the former Texans running back. And I think where it is, I think he has potential there. There's still room to grow for him. But I think if he's not on that initial 53-man, I think best case he lands on the practice squad. Same with E.J. Williams. I think he's done some good things during training camp. I don't know if it's enough to make the final roster, make through final roster cuts. But those are two guys. It would be hard. I can see those two guys coming back at some point, on the practice squad, especially E.J. Williams. I think with Roman, you're kind of a little bit concerned that maybe there might be another team that might want to go after him. If they do move on from him, but I still think he's going to figure out a way to stay in Las Vegas, whether he does make the roster or it's a situation where he's on the practice squad. I think those two guys, it seems like that's the way. There's a good chance of them being around Las Vegas to some degree.
Hey, Ryan, before I let you go, too, I'm a big fan, too, from Fisher's. Jeremy Chin is certainly defensively. How has he looked so far? What is on his shoulders in your estimation defensively?
Yeah, Jeremy Chin's going to be like the same way he was last year. He's going to be this Swiss Army knife in the secondary where you're going to see him, you're going to see him line up in the back end. He's going to play a lot closer to the line of scrimmage as a nickel, maybe as kind of as a linebacker as well. and help them in the run game and help them, try to create some pressure up front as well on the quarterback. So yeah, he's going to move around quite a bit, whether it's a safety, linebacker, nickel. He's going to play a lot of he's going to do a lot of things in this defense, and that's what they asked for a lot of their secondary. So he's not just the only one. You got Teron Johnson, the veteran they acquired from the Buffalo Bills. He's the guy that has had some reps at safety. Also, he's traditionally a slot corner, but they've also moved him around, playing a little bit of safety as well. So you're going to see. I think what you're going to see with Chin, like if they ever get those, like those big nickel package, those big nickel packages, right? Like you're going to see him as a linebacker. You're going to see Teron Johnson out there, and you're going to see Trayden Stoops and Isaiah pull them out. So they're going to do a lot of rotations, a lot of rotating in that secondary. But yeah, Jeremy Chin is going to play a huge, he's like, he's one of the veterans in that. It's a fairly young secondary they have. So he's one of those veteran guys, but like outside being like a veteran leader in that group, like you're going to see like it was last year. He just moves around. He's just going to move around a ton on the field, and that's what they like about him.
Is Max Crosby going to forget about the fiasco of this offseason with him in mind? Is that something he's going to forget about and just play, or is that always going to be, you think, on his mind?
One thing about Max Crosby is, like, I think it wouldn't be surprising he has like a sense of motivation to show, like, hey, look, like y'all think I have a bum knee, but I'm still one of the best edge rushers in the league. He's moved past it. I think he looks at that situation where, like, hey, it might be a sign that I belonged in Las Vegas, and I meant to be here to help turn this franchise around, because this is the franchise that took a chance on me in the third round and let me grow into the player that I am and allow me to establish my family out here in Nevada. So I think he kind of looks at it that way, like, it's a sign from God or something like that, as a way to know that I belong here in Las Vegas and nowhere else. At the same time, do I think like the trade conversations are going to go away with Max Crosby? No, I do not. As much as Raiders fans do not like to hear that, and you can't go away from that, because they did verbally agree to a deal to move on from him. After talks before then, they wanted to keep him, so they wasn't afraid to make a move if the offer was to come. Like if a good offer came to their table, which it did, just didn't fall out in anyone's favor, right? But I look at it like Max Crosby is, he's a Raider for now. But if we get to a situation by the trade deadline and the Raiders look like they're far from being a playoff contender, like a year or two away, I can see teams calling for Max Crosby, especially if he's playing for a high level, and say, hey, we may give you a first and a third, or maybe to try to bring Max Crosby to their team to try to like capitalize on their Super Bowl window. So I wouldn't say Max Crosby's I wouldn't shut down the trade talks with Max Crosby just yet. When we get to the deadline, I think that stuff is going to pick back up.
So here's some weird-ass connections and relatability. We just did that with Indiana dudes that are in Vegas with you right now, and Quiddy Pay is another one we could have brought up as well. But had the Max Crosby thing gone through, more than likely Trey Hendrickson is here right now. And now you're going to get Trey Hendrickson in week number 1 if you're the Colts against Baltimore, instead of Max Crosby, who is playing for the Raiders. It's weird. I don't know. Maybe it's not. I think it sounds weird as hell. Yeah.
It was like, it's one of the craziest things I've ever been a part of. That's just, I guess I tell people all the time, I don't think we're going to get the full truth behind how everything played out. I think that's going to be like an interesting 30 for 30 or HBO documentary.
Yes.
And like 10 years from now, when everyone's retired and, no one's obligated by the team to like reveal certain secrets. So I can't wait to watch the HBO doc or the 30 for 30 or Netflix doc about the trade for Max Crosby 48 hours in Baltimore. Because it's still an interesting story because, to see Crosby in the building at the same time as they're trying to sign Trey Henderson. And then they say, yeah, we were trying to bring in both at the same time. And even before it didn't seem like that was the plan. So it's a lot, like, ESPN, we've done some good reporting on that when it first happened, but I still think there's still more behind the scenes stuff that we haven't got in, which I think at some point we're going to be watching on Netflix.
At what week this season, too, Ryan, in closing, does Fernando Mendoza get his first start in the NFL?
That's a good question. Like, and for the Raiders, best case scenario, he does not start the whole year, because that means Kirk Cousins is playing at a high level and the Raiders are a playoff team. But, we got to live in reality. And I don't think that's the case for this team this year. I think the best case, I think realistically, I would look at week 8 against the New York Jets on November 1st as a way to potentially make his debut. The latest will be that Browns game before the bye week and before they hit the bye in November. I think those are two ways to ease them in, unless Kirk Cousins really playing some really, really bad football before then, and they have to make a move or someone gets hurt. But if I think that Jets game on November 1st, I think at that time you kind of know where you are as a team. Are we good enough to compete for a playoff spot? Are we not? Is Kirk Cousins good enough to finish out this year, or he's not? By week 8, you already know, right? So I think that's why I said the safest bet would be that road game against the New York Jets.
That is awesome stuff. Hey, Ryan, thank you very much for taking the time this afternoon. Enjoy the game later on tonight, and we'll get you back on later on this season to see how things are progressing with the Indiana staples around here that are in Vegas, which are many combinations right there. Pal, that's great stuff. Thank you.
No, most definitely. Thank you for having me.
It's Ryan McFadden right there. That's really good. There was a lot, and a lot of people probably don't realize we went like 8 deep in relatables and connections with that team. Some weird, wild stuff.
There was, you revealed something to me. Honestly, I didn't even know it went that deep, John.
Yeah, and bringing up Aiden O'Connell and maybe getting traded someplace.
Yeah.
Would people here rather have Anthony Richardson and Riley Leonard as a backup or Aiden O'Connell? Anybody? Just for S's and G's, because what the hell? Would you rather have Aiden O'Connell as a backup or Anthony Richardson and Riley Leonard? Anybody? Anybody want to answer that crap right there?
I'll have to think about it.
Think about that really quick. Hey, how many followers do you have right now?
20.
How many have you gained? 20? We're trying to get to 50 by the end of the show.
Oh, so now you're going to overshoot it.
Now I'm trying to, yeah. What are they?
Trying to undershoot it.
I know.
And now, okay.
So, yes, let's get to 50 at Zoovs 35.
With a V. There's some people wondering if it's a B. Zuves 35. 35. This is shameless. I feel so disgusting. Hey, go follow me on Twitter.
Listen, man. Look how connected you are with me right now. Don't sweat it.
It's your influence.
It is not. It's good people out here, man. I say this, and this is not at all trying to patronize anybody out there. It is so true. There are so many good folks that listen. It's the reason why I love this gig. I love this gig more than I love sports. It's just the relatables with people and the connections you make with people. That's what makes this so cool. It's not covering sports or going to games or, having, athletes on the show. It is hanging out with folks. I dig that.
Absolutely. Always
have and always will. I have always been an incredible hangout guy.
That's no question. Yeah.
He said O'Connell's going to be traded or probably will be traded. Is that what he felt?
Just kind of seeing how the other quarterback situations around the league shake out. Who needs a backup? Who has a starter that might go down?
Yeah. I'm just curious here. Richardson, Leonard, or an Aiden O'Connell? And a lot of people are going to say, well, we've seen Aiden O'Connell start multi-games, but you've seen Richardson. And there is still, especially with the younger generation, that thought that, one of these days he's going to transform into that consistent quarterback piece. Which, good luck with that thought, but that thought still remains, again, with those of your generation. Generation Z, the clouded thinking. Mike Chappell, top of the hour. Alec Pierce, back off the PUP. We'll get to that and more with Mike coming up at the top of the hour. Hey, tomorrow, Bud Light Blue Friday, the first one. I think it's the first time we've ever started this early. Bud Light Blue Friday, Mucky Duck, Southside, 65 at Southport. Explanation on the inbound. It's coming up next. 93.5, 107.5, The Fan. Night shot for Big Red Liquors, 100-plus locations, state of Indiana. One near you. BigRedLiquors.com powers the JMV takeover. That's Saturday night, the all-request Saturday night. B105.7. Great deals going on right now. My friends from Zinc will love this, too, because they got the Bud Light, and the Michelob Ultra, the superior light beer. Great deals across the state of Indiana, across the board at Big Red Liquors. Also, if you're looking for the variety that you want, you're going to find the absolute best in anything and everything, from bourbon to vodka, your favorites and spirits. Oh, yeah, by the way, their wine selection, absolutely unmatched. Big Red Liquors powers the JMV takeover every Saturday night, B105.7. Location and red hot deals nearest you. That's BigRedLiquors.com.
The Ride with JMV.
I tell you, Wally, I'll be the only character in Mayfield High with an FM radio in his car. Boy, FM, that's really neat.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
God, I love this song. Why is it that most people that cannot sing whatsoever believe that they can at times sound like Vedder? Why is that? Because there's a lot of grunting going on?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I think there's
It's most common, I think, people believe that they can sound like Vedder, and they don't sound anything like Vedder.
It seems like a low effort voice on the surface, I think, but then you find out it's really not.
So where does Eddie Vedder rank as far as rock music voices of all time? Lead singing voices, rock music voices. 35 years ago today, Pearl Jam and 10 was released. That was Black, one of my favorites of the entire Pearl Jam catalog. And if I remember correctly, 2 years ago, when we saw Pearl Jam at Rudolph Music Center, they played black. I remember Bob Kravitz. I don't think Bob Kravitz saw. Bob Kravitz was like sitting in a chair next to us and started out watching The Fever, but I think he ended up asleep.
Oh, no, come on, Bob.
Kravitz was, I mean, I think it was, it was, it wasn't because he was tired. He just, it was time to doze off for Bob. James Boyd had this fan morning show on The Athletic. The Colts signed punter Rigoberto Sanchez to a contract extension today. The team made that announcement. Sanchez has been here since 2017, 31 years of age. Remains, according to James, one of the best punters in the NFL. Rigoberto Sanchez. This also in from my man Jeff Wolf. The 3 big league barbers locations here in central Indiana: Hamilton County, Westfield, Noblesville, and Fishers. It is the official haircut of the JMV Takeover. In fact, yesterday I went by there in Noblesville, and Lindsay gave me a bit of a trim, a little side action trim there.
There you go.
Yeah. So Jeff says Caleb needs to hit us up at Big League Barbers. We just followed him on X. Hurry your ass. The official haircut of the JMV Takeover, Big League Barbers. Oh. Westfield right there next to Joe's Grill. In Fishers, right there next to Joe's Grill. You understand why this place is incredibly popular, just beyond the excellence of haircutting and the experience.
So you were out there.
In Noblesville, too.
You were out there yesterday at the Noblesville location. Was that when you were filming your video to promote the show and nobody could hear what you were saying because there was music over it?
I screwed up. I didn't know I did that. I had the sound down when I made that. You dropped the bomb on me,
and hey.
I don't know how that got in there. I think I pissed people off so bad with that video that TLC they didn't accept it. I was tagging everybody,
and they said we don't want
and TLC said, "Hey, get this crap out of here. This sucks." I didn't even know it until I got up this morning. I went, man, she dropped a bomb on me.
Yeah, the music did drop a bomb on that video. It couldn't even hear, couldn't even promote where you were at, man.
If I do 10 of these things, once out of every 10 times, I'll completely jack it up. But you couldn't hear anything.
It was so funny. Me and Finch were laughing about that. I said it to him this morning. I was like, this is just classic John.
I went out there and I hit all the right notes right there in front of Big League Barbers in Noblesville after Lindsay cut the hair. I'll be damned if I didn't jack up the video. Now, listen, the Gap Band and You Dropped a Bomb on Me is awesome, but I was also talking and it completely, which is probably good in a lot of respects, I guess, drowned out what I was saying. That's ridiculous. But yeah, once in every 10 times. I think you want to be my social media coordinator because I really do stink at it.
I think you do a great job.
I try my ass off. There's a lot of things I need to be able to do video, and I need to be able to edit better. Can you find me an editing apparatus or app at all?
Apparatus. Mm-hmm. I like that.
On my phone?
Is that what app is? No, app is short for application, not apparatus.
Not apparatus. Making that up. Hey, I mentioned this a little bit earlier. Max Lewis had this, either CBS 4 or Fox 59. I don't know where this dude works. Somewhere over there. And by the way, speaking of which, I did not know I was on with Rafael Sanchez yesterday on CBS 4. I thought he was just joking around, and I made a complete ass of myself on CBS 4 yesterday. I kind of looked drunk. I go, what? And then I kind of acted like I was joking, but I felt bad because I think Chelsea Helms was trying to talk in the background, but I couldn't hear her. And I was actually live on CBS 4. Did anybody see that yesterday? Did I look and sound as big of an ass as I thought I did? Because then Raphael, when he came on the radio show, I said, yeah, we were just messing around. He goes, no, you're actually on the air. And I go, no, I wasn't. It was not good. Not good at all. At least I didn't cuss.
I don't think anybody said anything to you, so I think you're all right.
I think I said, hey, Chelsea, coming to the pool party. Woo! God, who knows what I was doing? Paradise Day Watson, Chelsea.
Well, if you said something controversial, let's not bring it back up here. We escaped yesterday.
I did not know. I don't know if anybody saw it or not, but I had no idea that I was actually on at the time. Because I still had my radio headphones on. I was listening to the station in them as I was talking to him. I mentioned this a little bit earlier, too. Indiana authorities, according to Max Lewis, are asking people to be on the lookout for a lion and a cub on the loose. The Madison County Sheriff's Office said a drone operator reportedly confirmed the sighting after spotting both the lion and the cub in a field. And if this is an actual photo from this drone, that's the real deal right there. There's no mistaking that. But let's not jack around with it, all right? If you have any hillbilly friends that are getting all excited, just let's make sure safely lion and cub are captured safely. We'll keep you updated on that. That report, according to Max Lewis right there. Kurt says, CapCut is an easy and good video editing app. Can use it on your phone. Is CapCut free?
I think there's a paid version, as there is to basically everything in this world, but I think there is a free version that can get the job done.
I need to do CapCut because with Instagram, that is the one that TikTok really messes me up too. So I've kind of steered clear and gone to Instagram for it. JMV, nobody knows a single word that Eddie Vedder says. That's why every drunk dude thinks he can sing just like him. People complain about mumble rap and still like Pearl Jam are hypocrites. I love Vedder, man. Vedder is a big-time sports fan. I love that. That's great. Now, you guys are going with Aiden O'Connell over everybody else. Aiden O'Connell, according to you guys right here. Thank you, everybody, for help in the heartland. And actually, I was at the Kroger. I had to take my mom to the doctor this morning in Bloomington. And, of course, she loves the Kroger on Kinzer Pike right over by IU. So I take her to Kinzer Pike's Kroger and rounded up at checkout because they're doing it too. And it is still going on. Thank you guys for what you have done to help us out yesterday and continued help at various Kroger locations here in Indiana. Caleb.
I just got a caller who called in and said that this whole lion cub thing, and I hate to transition from the feel good of yesterday to this, but he said it's a false alarm.
It is?
But I haven't seen that confirmed anywhere.
Well, I thought a drone operator suggested that it.
She said to call. She said to call the police department and confirm with them because she knows. So until we get confirmation, it's kind of up in the air on what's actually happening. We just had a caller
and said that the lion and the cub on the loose in Madison County is a hoax.
It is, and somebody mistaked them for pigs. Apparently. That is what was told to me on the phone.
Is that picture that Max Lewis has on X right here? Is that not an actual picture, or is that like from Kenya or something?
I was going to say, that's like an African safari.
It's like an African safari?
Like, that's not in Greene County, man. Like,
no. Like the Lion King or something. Jeez.
Mufasa.
I thought that was an actual photo. Well, it said that a drone operator confirmed it. And I thought that was an actual picture. It's not an actual picture.
Yeah, wait, so does that look like Madison County to you right there in that Max Lewis picture?
Big cats on the loose. The Madison County Sheriff's Department said it received a report at 10 a.m. of two large exotic cats on the loose somewhere around South County Road 50 West in Madison County. A resident reportedly looked out his back window and observed an allegedly 300-pound lioness wearing a blue harness heading southwest. A smaller cub was reportedly alongside the lioness. So that is not an accurate picture. Max Lewis Hey, clown.
No, that's not.
That's a
Come
fake
on.
picture. See, that's
John.
lame, man. You can't do that. Seriously. What the hell's wrong with Max Lewis?
Max didn't do anything wrong. He just
He
showing
put
a
a
lion
picture
and a
of
cub.
well, it was like it's a dude lion too. It's male.
I'm just dying. This picture is like dead grass and.
Well, I mean, it could be around here. It could be in a field that just, was made to put up hay or something.
Yeah, it's true. I just bring that up that just like we need to wait for more details is what I'm saying. But just be wary in
All
Madison
right.
County.
Here's another update. JMV, there's an exotic animal farm north of Greenfield at Skunk Irvin's property. I don't know who Skunk Irving is. Skunk Irving.
This sounds like who
this is
would
from
own an
Mark.
exotic animal
Skunk
farm.
Irving's property. We used to take our kids to look at them from the road. There'd be a giraffe, gazelles. Skunk owns Irving Materials. He's a rich dude. So Skunk Irvin's legit. So that's Irving Materials, the concrete materials place. Holy crap. Skunk's got some cash and apparently some exotic animals. I had no idea. Thank you, Mark in Bargersville. Maybe this is true. Mike Chappell, we know this to be true, that Alec Pierce was back today off of PUP. The latest on that and the combinations we're going to see, 8 to 12 plays for the Colts starters coming up in preseason game 3 on Sunday against the Lions. Some of these combinations. And Richardson and Leonard, both secure. I got Zach Myers checking in for 59, too. I'm going to have him get into Max Lewis for posting that African safari photo. That's fake as hell. Weasel. See, if I did something like that, everybody would be climbing right up my rear end. Seriously. You wouldn't even need a ladder.
They would,
Right up it. Quick break, we'll come back. Mike Chappell, top of the hour. Fantasy football slots. We got one available for you in the 5 o'clock hour. Sit tight, and Bud Light Blue Friday tomorrow, Southside. I'll tell you where, when, why, and you better be there. Next. Connecticut water is the absolute best. I don't know what I would have done without Joe and John before John retired, but Joe with Connecticut, he has been awesome because my water was just a bad situation on a well, still on a well in Morgan County. I have no idea what's coming out of that well. Seriously. And I do know this, that the water was notoriously, incredibly hard. Enter Connecticut Water Systems, and Joe came in. They put together a system specific for my home water needs, exactly what they're going to do for you. I have great water now thanks to Connecticut. You can too. That free in-home water test. Get signed up today and find out what Connecticut Water Systems can do for you. That's Connecticut.com. Hey, here's a great idea. Who out there loves a watch? And I mean a nice watch. Moyer Fine Jewelers in Carmel, they are your watch folks. My man Dan Moyer's got absolutely everything for you, too. The watch store, no matter what you're looking for, maybe something entry level to something incredibly, an iconic piece you might have been chasing for a number of years now. 23 watch brands and the Midwest's most incredible collection of pre-owned Rolex. If you're building that collection, this is an absolute for you. I can tell you this. I have a couple. Like I have a Tag Heuer that I love a great deal. I've always been enthusiastic about the brand name Breitling. They have that Omega, Breitling, Grand Seiko, Hublot. I used to pronounce that name wrong, but I'm accurate now. That is a luxury watch brand. Boutique brands too, like Fears, Nevada Grenchen, Chrono Swiss. And again, the most impressive selection of pre-owned Rolex you're going to find at Moyer Fine Jewelers. That's Dan Moyer and my friends at Moyer Fine Jewelers, 146th Street in Carmel, MoyerFineJewelers.com today.
Make your
The Ride with JMV.
These are my new shoes from Converse. They're so light and so fast, my grandmama can whoop you in them.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
I got my hustle on here. We got Mike Chappell coming up at the top of the hour. Fantasy football slot for you. You know why I like to say slot? Maybe we should do the draft at Mystic Waters. I just got to make sure that everybody could attend Mystic Waters. We've got the Labor Day weekend bender coming up next weekend with Evan Williams and Brent Holverson, obviously, there. That's Friday, the fan show, and then the All Request Saturday night JMV takeover at Mystic Waters. Labor Day weekend bender, that's next week. Locationally speaking, we could probably do something for this draft if those that are involved are down. We could do that. We'll talk about that coming up on the other side. And the good news regarding Alec Pierce, the question marks that remain surrounding Charvarius Ward and just how things are going to play out coming up on Saturday afternoon, preseason game number 3. Starters, 8 to 12 plays. See how that combination goes. 10 a.m., it is the Colts pregame huddle with us in Touchdown Town. That is on Saturday morning. All right, Mike Chappell is going to join us on the other side. I mentioned Bud Light Blue Friday tomorrow. I'll give you all the details on how you need to be there and join us. That is coming up next. 93.5, 107.5, The Fan. Hey, John and Chris Love at Love Heating and Air, Ohio dealer today. Efficiently working is your system right now? Do you know? Can you see? Does it feel? All of a sudden, we're going to hit lower 90s coming up again, I believe, on Sunday. So make sure your system is working the way that it should. 317-353-2141. And by the way, call Kendra right now. Kendra is celebrating a birthday as of yesterday. Kendra is an incredible 21 years of age. Call for Kendra. Kendra will set you up with somebody like Ron, an incredible technician with Love Heating and Air. Wish her happy birthday, and then get somebody over to your place to make sure that your cooling unit is working the way that it should. 317-353-2141. Mention my name. If you need a repair, you mention my name, they're going to give you $144 off the service fee. Love Heating and Air, Ohio dealer. 317-353-2141. Remember that deal if you need a repair by mentioning my name. It's love-hvac.com today.
The Ride with JMV.
You droned on with useless facts and boring stats.
Your one-stop shop for sports talk.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
There we go. That's my video yesterday. Me talking this all over. I love this song, though. This is a March/dance and play song. Maybe the greatest of all time. That's when you do that. Hey, turn this up really quick. You know what I mean? That's great. The Gap Band. 3 dudes named after or taking the first word of the streets in which they grew up in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Caleb, true story right there.
How about that?
All right, how many followers are you up since I last?
I haven't checked in a minute, but
we're waiting on Mike Chappell to jump on Zoom, I think, right now.
Yeah, we are waiting for Mike to join. I did get a notification that Chris Denary, our friend, followed me, so he must be listening to the show this afternoon.
Let us mention, too, thank you to Chris Denary for hanging out yesterday for all 3 hours. It was great. Yesterday, the Logan Street location of Kroger for help in the heartland for those affected by the floods of well over a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. It was awesome to see the outpouring of love and the helpers given. And thank you to Chris Denary. 3 hours with us yesterday he spent. That was pretty damn awesome. Truly was. And again, thank all of you that came by. My man Jeremy dropped off the Joy and Pain from Rob Bass and Easy Rock from 1989. The 12-inch single that was actually inside a picture frame, which is awesome. Thank you, Jeremy, for that. JMV Takeover Saturday night. Meantime, on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline, let's get him in here. CBS 4 and Fox 59. He is our friend Mike Chappell. So we feeling a lot better regarding Alec Pierce being slotted in to start week number 1. You feeling a lot better about that now?
No question. Whenever a guy's not out there is not a good thing. And again, they had to do something in the next few days. And this had been, to use coach speak, trending in the right direction. Everything we had heard. And I understand how some media and fans get skeptical of what teams are saying, but everybody we talked to made it very clear that he was on this arc of getting back. Reggie Wayne yesterday was the same way. So yeah, and now he's got 2 weeks. He's got 2 weeks to get to the point that he can be, good enough. I hate to use that word, but good enough to start the season. He's not going to be 100%. It's just asking too much, which really shows the value of adding Keenan Allen. Several days ago, and it's a good group. It's a good room, great room. It's like the room that they had last year. It just is. They traded volume Michael Pittman for volume Keenan Allen, and Alec Pierce and Josh Downs and everybody else kind of fits where they go. So but it's always great to see good and great players back on the practice field.
So Mike Chappell with us. What is, you think, the expectation? What do you need to see? What do they need production-wise from Alec Pierce after signing that contract? And obviously, needing a high level of production / results from everybody to make this thing work out. But what do they need out of him, especially in the category of things that he has never accomplished before?
Well, and that's where maybe we're all, I don't know, when they say like it started at the combine, well, we're expecting a lot more from him. And the question is, what does that mean? And they have to be so careful about not giving so much more quantity. And then you take away the quality. You take away the deep ball, and you take away 20 yards a catch over the season. And that's why really Keenan Allen's addition allows him to still be, yes, he's going to get more. He's going to get what, 84 targets last year. I don't know, 110. I don't know what the number is, but you can't give him so many more underneath routes because he's that good of a receiver and take away his specialty. And part of the reason they gave him $114 million is he does things that very few players in the NFL do. And that's, the last time a player averaged back-to-back, led the league back-to-back in yards per catch was Flipper Anderson. Again, I've mentioned this in 1989 and 90. Remember the former Colt Flipper Anderson for like 3 or 4 games. So but no, they're going to get more from him. But I think with coming back off the injury, and by the way, he's really right on schedule. Went back and when he talked to us in June, he said, yeah, 4 to 6 months. Well, this is 5 months. So he's really right there. I'm sure the team would, remember, I think Chris Ballard said, he needs a week or 2. Well, it was longer than that. And that's one reason that coaches and GMs do not like to give time frames, because when they're wrong, we say, see, you told us. But again, he's got time. We're going to see him ease back in. He's not going to be the volume reps guy like he has been. He and Michael Pittman, they were out there 90% of the time. That won't be the case early on. But they've got options, and they've got Keenan Allen, they've got Josh Downs. Ashton Doolin can do some things, and then Tyler Warren's going to take a lot of that. So it's going to be, they're going to be creative on how they do it, but having him back is not. There's no scenario where that's a bad thing.
So Mike Chappell of CBS 4 and Fox 59. Colts preseason game 3 coming up on Saturday. 1 o'clock is that kick versus the Detroit Lions. We'll get to the 8 to 12 plays for the starters, with the exception of quarterback Daniel Jones and running back Jonathan Taylor in a second. But the latest on Charvarius Ward, who was back, but it's some of his responses or his dialogue to these questions of having to deal with a back. It's not like everybody was feeling really glowingly about, the possibility of him playing every single game and being out there at all time this season. And I thought that a lot of what he said, when meeting with the media, gave folks around here yet another reason to not believe in that as far as this season is concerned. How did you feel about it?
Well, I don't say not to believe, but I've just got to wonder how much faith you've got that he's going to be out there all the time. Again, this isn't like somebody tweaked an ankle in November and now we're going to manage it the rest of the year. No, this is August, and he's going to manage and maintain a back injury. Yeah, he said he did something. So he did something in practice. And any of us who've had back injuries, and we're just talking walking around daily life, and this is a high-end athlete, it just gives you reason to think, well, and so much of what they want to do defensively is to have Mooney and Sauce Gardner at corner. It allows Lou Anarumo to do so much with his defense. So, yeah, we'll see. It's not a good thing. It's not a great thing to have a player saying you're going to be maintaining this and managing it. I think what it's going to be is we're going to get used to Mooney having a Veterans Day off, Buck does that and Grover has that. There's guys that have that. And this is one where they're going to watch it. They're not going to overdo it. But, we entered the off season thinking, boy, we're really worried about those concussions. And now it's on top of that with the back. So it's not a good thing. As much as Pierce being out there is a great thing, to have your corner, one of your top defensive players, say we're going to manage this back as we go, at the very least, your antennas start tingling a little bit. Say, well, we're going to have to monitor this. As much as he monitors his back, we're going to monitor him.
Mike, given the fact in the secondary they are so reliant on the performance of this defense, I can see why everybody is a little bit freaked out about it.
Well, so much of what, because the primary question on defense is where's the pass rush coming from? Latu and then, Buck. Their second best pass rusher is still probably DeForest Buckner, which is great for Buck, but it's not great for your defense. Or Arden Key. But the idea is, well, when we can press and really get in people's faces with the secondary with Mooney and Sauce and Justin Wally and Cam Bynum and all these guys, It's supposed to be the other way around. You're supposed to get, ideally you want the pass rush to buy a little extra half a second for the secondary. And this is the other way around. You're hoping your secondary makes the quarterback hold the ball a little bit longer. It's not ideal. And then when you start taking away, say theoretically, you take away Mooney for a game, 2 games, whatever. Then you're going to put either Cam Britt out there out wide and leave Wally at nickel, or you're going to move Wally outside and move Cam Britt inside. Of course, after he misses the first game. So whenever you miss top players, it just shows people up the depth chart. So you hope you're deep enough to where you can absorb that kind of energy. But anytime you lose a top player like a Mooney, like a Sauce, like Buck or Latu or anybody on offense, it's just few teams can overcome losing players of that stature.
All right, you go back all the way to the first time the Colts got here, and you got to deal with Ron with an H Stark, who was noted as a punter, and we have seen obviously Hunter Smith. We have seen Pat McAfee and Rigoberto Sanchez, a 2-year extension today. Where does he rank all time here in Indy as a punter?
Well, average-wise, he's the best. Whatever it is, 48 or 40. It's not 49. I think he's got the single season record of 49, and he's got 3 of the top 4 single seasons. He's as good as it gets. The number that's crazy, and I used it, now I haven't got it in front of me. He's got like 185 inside the 20s and like 21 touchbacks. That's crazy. That's just crazy. It's like the assist to turnover ratio in basketball. So he's sort of, I just think he's underappreciated nationally across the NFL landscape, and he is just very good. And to have, it's kind of like when Vinny was here in his heyday, you just didn't worry about that position. And Rigo's the same way. Luke Rhodes is the same way. And, kickers, you just, okay, we got Rigo, and then you don't worry about it. And then, of course, he had that awful injury several years ago. So, great guy to have. He's a holder as well. And I tell you, it's funny. One of the things that the Colts do marketing wise is during a game, like halftime, they'll bring people out of the stands to try to catch a punt, which is, it's laughable. Most people are trying to do it. I'd like to have a guy trying to catch a snap from a long snapper to put the ball down for your kicker. And I wonder if guys can do that. That's really amazing what they do. So good for Rigo. He's great at what he does. He's great in the locker room. And it just shows you that they are, while they're preparing for this season, they're also doing it with an eye on the future. Remember, they gave JT his extension, and now this one, I'm sure this one isn't quite as big as JT's. But good for Rigo.
It's Mike Chappell of CBS 4 and Fox 59 who joins us now. So 8 to 12 snaps for the starters. No Daniel Jones or Jonathan Taylor coming up against the Lions on Saturday. How is that going to look in the immediacy of the starters getting a little bit of run in that final preseason game?
Yeah, we were talking with KB and a few guys that watching practice today, and I go back and forth. It's got to be good to get these guys out there and get a few snaps, but and I was surprised DeForest Buckner's going to play a couple of plays. Good for him. And Keenan Allen's going to play some, but you wonder what are you going to get out of it? They're going to play for 8 to 10 plays or 2 series, whatever it's going to be, and then you don't play for 2 weeks. So I've always thought, like a running back, I want his first hit to be in the preseason, not the regular season. But if it happens, JT's not going to play. But if he's out there for one play and he gets hit and gets up and all that, what did that do for in 2 weeks? At the same, so this will be one where either they're going to come out and play well in the opener, and people will say, well, this is why they did what they did, or they'll come out and be rusty because they've not really played a lot together except in joint practices, and they say, see, you need to play these guys. So it's going to be damned if you do and damned if you don't. So this is one where Rick Venturi and I probably disagree. I want to do as much as I can to make certain my team is healthy for the opener. And if that means I'm going to be rusty in the first quarter, I'll deal with it. As opposed to, you got to get these guys ready. It's a collision sport, and you got to play them. I think Rick's probably one that you're going to play him. I don't know, except for maybe the running back or whatever. So, we'll see. But Detroit's going to do the same thing. And, these coaches get together and they say, listen, are you going to do this? You're going to do that? Because you don't want to put your guys out there, your backups, and then the other team's going to play their starters. Well, what's that prove to either side? I'm fine with it. And in 2 weeks, we'll say they either did the right thing throughout camp or they should have been harder on these guys.
So Mike Chappell of CBS 4 and Fox 59, he is on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Yeah, it's interesting. You kind of look around, especially at the backup quarterback situation right here, and you get Anthony Richardson, you get your Riley Leonard. They're going to keep 3, right? And as of right now, Anthony Richardson, you said all along that he should be the backup. I've kind of steered clear from the dialogue just because I think at that point it's really not going to matter too much. But I get why we're talking about it right now. I guess why I'm bringing this up is, would there be maybe a better, more veteran guy out there that would fit this mold as a backup quarterback in Indy more than either Richardson or Leonard at this point? Would anybody else make more sense?
No, it's funny. I wish I had the list, and I don't. Dave Griffiths at Fox 59 for a podcast, he had a list of the backups, all of them, all 32 of them. And I'm looking at that, and I'm thinking, AR's better than most of them. I mean, there's very few, and I wish I had the list, and I could say which one I might rather have. But it's the Andy Daltons and Marcus Mariotas and Trey Lance and, Shadur Sanders and no Mac Jones. No, I look at that and I say I don't want anybody else. Now, if it's Riley Leonard, I would probably find guys I would rather have more. But no, I just, and it's gonna be a good situation for Richardson if something happens and he has to play to where he can get out there and play well and keep this team afloat. But it's, again, I will stay. I'm not going to veer from what I said. I would have preferred, a month ago that when there was no trade that they just released him because of the baggage, and there is baggage. There just is. But as I've also said, straddling the fence to hurt my butt is that you're not going to find a better backup quarterback in the league than Richardson. I'm still somewhat surprised that no one offered anything for him. No team offered anything for him. So I hope it's funny. I hope it works out for him here, but that would mean somebody, Jones has to get hurt, and you don't want that. So ideally, Jones plays the bulk of the games. Richardson doesn't play much, and this team makes the playoffs because we know what happens if that's not the case.
Well, how significant was it the way Mekhi Blackman played himself off this roster?
Wow. Well, sometimes players just cut themselves. I mean, we see that all the time in camp. And he played, I thought he was serviceable last year, started 11 games. But yeah, he didn't practice well. He didn't play in the 2 preseason games very well. So that was a case of, and remember they traded for him last August, about a year ago. They traded for him, give up a 6th-round pick. So that was, sometimes they cut players to think, man, I forgot that player was even on the roster. Not the case here, where this guy started 11 games for you, and he just didn't give him a reason to keep him before the last preseason game. So yeah, sometimes players cut themselves.
Kenneth Harris is in. Mekhi Blackman is out, and I would agree with you. He was in there often, but man, between just what you guys described up at those workouts at Grappling Grant Park in Westfield to what we witnessed, and it was apparent that in that first game against New England that they absolutely went at him. They went at both he and Edwards at that corner time and time again. So. Yeah, it's a disappointment, and again, we'll see what happens, and hopefully the depth remains. But that is, I think, a disappointment for this team.
Well, and that's where you, like with the Mooney Ward situation, is I really like their top 4 corners. I really do. When you're talking Wally and Cam Britton, then you got to find a 5, maybe even a 6, because of injuries and how much you're going to play these guys. So we'll see how that shakes out. That's why this last game, I think if they had to sit down today Steichen and Chris Ballard could come up with a 53. There's probably a couple of spots. The last receiver who's going to do the return game and all that, but those last couple of cornerback spots, you really need to get guys you can trust. Maybe corner is a place you look at it when on waivers on Sunday. I'd love to get an offensive tackle on waivers, but teams just don't get rid of offensive line. No one has a surplus of offensive linemen. You may have a surplus of receivers and running backs and corners. You don't have a surplus of really good, not even really good, but just reliable offensive linemen. And those are the two spots that I really think they need to look for in the waiver wire, are offensive line and corner.
So does the kicking battle hinge on this game Saturday?
Probably, and I think it's a case of I don't know what group he can do to win it. I suppose Spencer Schrader could go out there and duck hook a couple and change minds, but I just think it's his to lose. He's just gotten better. He had a slow start because he's coming back from 2 knee ligaments in his kicking knee, and I tell you, we watched him in practice Tuesday, I guess it was, and the ball explodes off of his foot. It just does. And I think he's finally getting back closer to where he was. And I think it's his to lose. He would have to go out there, in my mind, and not kick well. We said all along they're going to have to let go of a good kicker. And right now, I think that good kicker they're going to let go of is Blake Grupe.
I don't know if you can see this right now, but Chris Owens, who used to work for the Colts, used to be with me over on Fall Creek Road. I was in Noblesville yesterday at Kroger, and he delivered to me the original DAT, the digital audio tape of the Polian Moore interview right here.
I've got it on a disc.
Well, this is like the tape. This is what the original was taped, 12/12/01. Handwritten right here.
Isn't it like 29 or 32 minutes?
Yeah.
And it's golden.
It
is just, you, sir, are an idiot.
Nothing like that will ever happen again. Nothing.
No.
Never.
And it shouldn't have happened in the first place.
Yeah.
I can still see Craig Kelly there saying, Bill, this is not a good idea. And Bill's saying, yeah, sure it is. Well, no, it wasn't.
I mean, Craig trying to hang the phone up as Bill fought him off with his forearm.
People need to take time it won't take you more than a half an hour, but it is such great stuff.
Yeah, it is incredible how that is that the greatest sports talk moment, sports radio moment in this market's history?
Well, the Bill Tobin and Mel Kiper,
but I guess radio wise, but no, I would suggest this is even better than Tobin and Mel Kiper,
because there's a part where Bill's reading Drew Rosenhaus's in slang, and it was just like, but he finally said, "You sir are a maniac, or what? You're
a madman."
Madman. That's it.
I can't believe they let you lead this organization.
It's just, and this was Bill Polian, who had 99% of the facts on his side on Edgerrin's injury, and no one cared because Jay Moore was that heckler in the stands, in the audience, and hecklers, sometimes can get the better of you, and it just didn't come off good.
But Peyton Manning, because it's, as you know this to be true, Mark Patrick left, and it just so happened he was watching his son Drew, who was 12 at the time, at a basketball game. So he left, and the late Ron Sexton, Donnie Baker, came in with me, and we hosted the rest of the show, and Peyton Manning called in. Peyton Manning called in afterwards, and he started just like this, because I think Ron said, "Hey, Peyton Manning joins us now," and Peyton said, "Yeah, guys, I was just driving around and listening," and he was trying to smooth over the situation.
No. There's no smoothing over that.
It was.
That big game was classic, and
I think really sports wise, what would compare? I mean, sports wise in general, not just sports talk radio, but TV and in print and sports around here. Anything compared to that?
But it went on for half an hour.
Yeah.
That's the thing is it just kept going on and on and yeah, it was again. Bill was that mother hen, and how dare you attack my brood? And nobody cared because Jay Moore just kind of kept bringing the zingers, and zingers always went over the facts all the time.
You think had Peyton Manning not had that injured neck, that Bill would have closed out everything right? I mean, it would have been right here, or would he been allowed to hand over the reins to Chris back then, as he wanted to do?
I don't know. I've always said Bill tried to squeeze, not tried. He squeezed every ounce out of the talent that he had, and we knew when it ended it was not going to be pretty. They would have had some really tough decisions because remember with Andrew Luck sitting there, if they bring Peyton, let's say Peyton doesn't have the bad neck, they still had some serious cap problems where they dumped Dallas Clark and Gary Brackett and Melvin Bullitt and all these guys, Choadai. So, it was fun while it lasted, buddy. It was fun while it lasted.
That one day, they got rid of about six in the same day, Mike, back then.
And again, so if they bring Peyton back for that season, he's surrounded by a bunch of guys. So we would have seen just how great he was. But, boy, when you got Andrew Luck sitting there, wow. What if?
It's tough. I still think about too. Jim Caldwell's another guy that got caught up in this, and all of it too. And
I felt bad for him.
Yeah, he was probably a better coach without the circumstances right there. Even though I think the moment with the whole deer in the headlights moment with Manning, I think the Manning sideline reaction really buried him a lot too, right there. So
the unbeaten season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the unbeaten season, and then the Jets game too. There was the Jets game, right? I think that and the sideline reaction helped bury
Peyton's last game.
Right, it was.
I was fortunate enough when I went to the Adam Vinatieri's post-enshrinement party in Canton that the Ursays put on, and I ran into Jim Caldwell, and he's just one of the most decent people I've ever seen. And he was one of the guys, the unspoken guys behind Peyton really evolving as a quarterback. He was his quarterback coach for a long time, and he made a difference in Peyton. He did. So yeah, he was just not forceful enough. I don't know what the word is to deal with what he had to deal with. But I'm telling you, he's still one play away from winning a Super Bowl as a rookie coach. Hang basket, for crying out loud, but that's history.
The Jets game, I've never seen Colts fans ever as angry as they were coming out of that game. Because that's when I was on hiatus between stations, and I was on with Chris Hagan at 59, and we're doing a live shot for 59 out in the media lot next to that guard shack right there, and fans, broke the gate, and it was just giving me the finger and giving everybody the finger. It was nuts after that game. The immediacy.
Was it that Vinatieri gave him the lead late? I mean, late.
Yeah.
And then Jerry Hughes whiffed on the kickoff return, and they got a good kickoff return and a timeout that shouldn't have been, and it wasn't the way that the Peyton Manning era should have ended.
There are great memories around here, but there are some bad ones too. But I still maintain Polian and Moore, 2001 of December, the greatest, the greatest sports moment.
Take 30 minutes of your life and just sit there and enjoy it.
All right, I appreciate you, Mike. As always, thank you.
Talk at you next week.
It's Mike Chappell of CBS 4 and Fox 59 on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Yeah, the original DAT right here. Thank you, Chris Owens, for that yesterday. I'm sorry I had to bring up a lot of the really bad Colts memories. That was the tail end of the golden era. Went a little bit haywire. I believe, was that on a Monday when all those Colts notables were released? I believe on a Monday, early March, right before the start of free agency. Like a Black Monday, if you will, of Colts greats around here. A lot of winning released. I was, at the time, we know it as the District Tap now. I believe, was it known as the Tilted Kilt then? I believe I was doing a live show when all these names were being announced as released. I was doing Caleb a live show at the Tilted Kilt, which is now the District Tap downtown.
How about that?
Yeah. Shout out to Michael. Great spot. The Tilted Kilt. You ever go to the Tilted Kilt?
I don't think so.
They're actually, if you go on Michigan Road and 465 right there, there's still a sign, the Tilted Kilt sign, because there was a location there right next to the pyramids where that Caribbean Cove place was, the indoor water park. That is now closed, but the Tilted Kilt sign, I think, is still up there. Yeah. Those are some bad memories of the past right there. All right, quick one, we'll come back. Fantasy Football League, I have a position for somebody before the end of the show. And a Bud Light Blue Friday. We are off and running early this year, and you got to love it. Southside destination tomorrow for all of you and me, all of us together with 93.5, 107.5 The Fan. Hey. False start from John right here. I mentioned the District Tap, which is awesome. Absolutely love. Downtown District Tap and Clearwater Crossing on the north side. Yeah, right now you are, Thursday-wise, just enjoying the happy hour specials. The damn good food. TVs everywhere. You got all these preseason games on later on tonight. Not going to miss a second. You can also put that with a little bit of baseball. Got you covered on that, too. The District Tap. And if you're going any place downtown, that is an incredible position to post up. Or on the north side at Clearwater Crossing, the District Tap. Live music on the weekend, happy hour specials, as I mentioned as well. You have event space and then catering available, thedistricttap.com. And the best in plumbing, Lance and his local team, LD Smith Plumbing and Drains. LDSmithPlumbing.com. All right, if you've really looked around your place and you're looking for things to do, right, plumbing-wise, maybe you've got odds and ends that Lance and his local team can take care of. But I mention this all the time, especially as we position ourselves for fall right here. Make sure that all the drains in and around your home and its foundation clog free with the best in plumbing, LD Smith Plumbing and Drains, 317-927-7186. That's Lance and his local team. No matter your plumbing needs, especially if there's a plumbing emergency, got to go with the best. LD Smith Plumbing and Drains. Call them today, 317-927-7186, online, ldsmithplumbing.com.
The Ride with JMV.
JMV sucks.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
I'll give you guys a moon. Game-winning field goal, 2011. And by the way, I had cloudy thinking. That was not the year I was on hiatus. That was my first year here. Because evidently I interviewed Bill Polian after this, correct? And that was after the 17-16 Jets win over the Colts, January 8th, 2011.
Mm-hmm.
And I interviewed Bill Polian right after that. And it apparently was a very jovial interview.
Riveting.
Yeah, very jovial. You remember who kicked the game winner because we saw him last weekend kicking for the Atlanta Falcons. He's still kicking. Who am I talking about?
How about this?
Yes.
If you can get this right on the text line,
okay,
you're going to be in our fantasy league. How about that?
Go to it right now.
The game-winning kick in the 2011 AFC wildcard versus the Colts was who?
At
Because
Lucas
he
Oil
just
Stadium to the
kicked.
Jets. Yeah.
He's still kicking in the league and just kicked at Lucas Oil Stadium this weekend.
All right. You going to go with the first answer?
First
Correct?
answer
You
to get
better
it right
hurry
on
up.
the text line.
People are going to be pissy about this. Jim McCann writes this, in case you missed the experience, here is the tilted kilt. That's exactly what the tilted kilt was. It didn't last very long around here, either location. Kind of like that partial eclipse tonight. Won't last very long. Richard Reeves wants to get into fantasy. Shout out to Richard Reeves. The JMV song, the original JMV song he created years ago that I occasionally, more than occasionally, play on the JMV Takeover Saturday nights. Rex writes this, if you aren't already, I hope you're writing a book for all these Indy sports memories. I was a part of a great deal of these. It's incredible. JMV, I'm 100% with Mike Chappell. Richardson needs to be the backup. And there isn't anyone I'd rather have backing up Jones. He's still only 24, so much upside, a uniform skill set. Wish the best for him and believe he will be a starter within the next 3 years. Just not here. Eric writes this, damn JMV, did you get catfished on this whole lion thing? We haven't heard any more about the whole lioness,
updates.
right? The lioness and cub reportedly roaming the countryside on the Madison-Hancock County line. No? All right, quick break. We'll come back. Did you get a winner for this?
We did.
All right, who win? Who is going to get
How
a
about
position
this?
right now?
Isn't this crazy?
It is.
Because Litzy was the one that said, hey, Caleb, what's your X account? And Litzy was also the one that got first.
That means the fantasy league's going to be fired up.
Yes. The correct answer was Nick Folk.
Nick Folk. 32-yard game winner, January 2011. Jets 17-16 over the Colts. A lot of things ended on that particular day. And I was right. You go fast forward to March, and everything
Clean
changed.
house, yeah.
And he had the whole that Manning thing. I was at that press conference. Everybody was crying. Like everybody with the Colts crying. I wasn't crying, but yeah, everybody's crying. Yeah, I'm crying. You just knew something incredibly profound was going on right there in front of you.
Yeah.
It was incredible. I was there for that. I was there over at what is IU Indy now, formerly IUPUI, with the whole night thing during the Raiders game. I've been a part of a lot right here. There's no doubt. Oh, the whole Jim Morris stuff. The Jim Morris stuff with Tim Bragg, I've been a part of that too. Playoffs. Shout out to Tim Bragg. All right, quick break, final time. We'll come back. Not the Tilted Kilt tomorrow. I don't even know if those are still open anywhere. Tomorrow we're going to be at the Mucky Duck. I love being outdoors at the Mucky Duck. Tomorrow, Bud Light Blue Friday. Details coming up. Don't go anywhere. We'll close out the show with you coming up next. 93.5, 107.5 The Fan. At Sundown Gardens and, of course, Miss M's home and garden. To the rescue. Why? Because here comes the fall. And all the fall, the mums and such you want to have lurking around your landscape. And you can find all that you need, courtesy of Sundown Gardens and Miss M's home and garden. Hey, turn that yard into a place that you love. Fresh fall shipments, premium nursery stock coming in weekly. Right now, we're talking premium plants, container trees, and shrubs. All good to go for the fall. And a large selection of mums in all colors and sizes, plus stunning fall annuals and Indiana-grown pumpkins and gourds. Hey, fall is coming. Are you prepared? That means a trip to Sundown Gardens up north or Miss M's home and garden down south near me. The weather is great. Let's get something done. Sundown Gardens in Westfield, 186 in Spring Mill Road, and Miss M's on State Road 135 just south of Whiteland Road in Bargersville.
The Ride with JMV.
Who's ready for some football?
Football is a way of life.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
I mentioned too. Just give me yellow Ledbetter right here. Gotta love this song, man. It's well done out of you. This would probably be regarded as most Pearl Jam fans' favorite song. Who out there, give me a show of hands, Yellow Ledbetter. Greatest Pearl Jam effort of all time? What do you think, Caleb?
I think so. It's my favorite
That's
for
your
sure.
favorite?
I had to play. I know this isn't on the album,
Right.
but
It's not on 10, yeah.
I love this song so much. And actually, as we were playing these today, John, I did remember a time post-graduation. I had moved back home, and I was stuck at home for a year. And I remember going through, now that you mentioned, now we're playing it, the album 10.
Yeah.
I was watching a sunset near my house after a long work week, and I was just sitting there, and it's a great album to just chill to,
Yeah, 35 years ago today, and Yellow Ledbetter's not a part of it, but 35 years ago today, Pearl Jam released the album 10. How many of those songs, are they all one-word titles with the exception of Even Flow on Pearl Jam 10? All
Yes.
one-word titles except for Even Flow. NFL preseason action, of course, the Colts get underway coming up on Saturday morning, 10 a.m., 93.5, 107.5, The Fan, and Country 97.1, Hank FM. We have a trio of stations that have you covered. That is the Colts pregame huddle beginning at 10 a.m. We're in Touchdown Town once again. Should be absolutely fantastic. Got to be there, join us, and then we'll lead you to noon, countdown to kickoff. That's Matt Taylor and Charles Arbuckle with the call. And 8 to 12 plays for the starters. Alec Pierce back today. Obviously, you're not going to see him, but 8 to 12 plays for the starters. You're not going to see Daniel Jones and Jonathan Taylor. But that is what you're going to witness coming up on Saturday. It starts with the Colts pre-game huddle. That is coming up on Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Now, preseason action later on tonight. It was awesome. I loved having Ryan McFadden on. There are so many connections and relatables with the Raiders to us here in the state of Indiana, whether you're talking about Fernando Mendoza, Roman Hemby, E.J. Williams, Aiden O'Connell, Purdue, Jeremy Chin of Fishers. Quiddy Pay, the former Colts player. You know, the fact that Max Crosby remains on that team, but had he been in Baltimore, then more than likely Trey Hendrickson is here. Is that how that goes? And then now you get Trey Hendrickson in week number 1 against the Ravens instead of Max Crosby. Some weird stuff. Steelers-Bills tonight, 7 o'clock. Patriots and Browns. By the way, Steelers-Bills, NFL Network. Patriots-Browns, Prime Video. Deshaun Watson, after being booed roundly by the fans in Cleveland, will be in just typical Browns fashion. Their Week 1 starter during the regular season. ESPN Unlimited has the 49ers and the Raiders tonight, whatever the hell that is. And the NFL Network tonight with the Rams and the Chargers. I believe Justin Herbert starts for the Chargers. Matthew Stafford does not play for the Rams in Southern California later on tonight. Fever coming up tomorrow. Fever in Connecticut. That is the game prior to the FIBA break for women's basketball in the WNBA. 7:30 tomorrow night. The Fever and the Sun pregame show starts right here at 7. And I should also mention that you got me coming up tomorrow as well. You got me live. And you guys, too. You guys all got to join because this starts officially Bud Light Blue Fridays tomorrow. The Mucky Duck, we're going to be outside. The outdoor patio that Todd has put together at the Mucky Duck is unmatched. Awesome. It's tomorrow, Bud Light Blue Friday, your chance to win Colts and Ravens tickets, and then to qualify yourself for the ultimate football lovers prize package this year. Mucky Duck tomorrow, 65 in Southport. And even if you're going out, because we're going to be all over football tomorrow, week 2 of the high school football season, and now a week closer to the start of college football. But tomorrow, Joel A. Erickson of the Star will be with us. Bob Lovell, week 2 of the high school football campaign with Bob. And Don Fisher, voice of the Hoosiers. Look up when his WTIU television down in Bloomington, Timeless. Have you seen that? Timeless is about Don, and I believe the narrator of Timeless is Ken Beckley. You guys know Ken Beckley, who was doing that. Timeless, right?
August 28th is when it premieres. So I have to talk to him,
You'll
which is
talk to
tomorrow.
him about that, yeah, tomorrow. So it premieres when he's on this show tomorrow.
Yeah, 6:30 p.m.
Mucky Duck tomorrow. Bud Light Blue Friday. Also a shout-out, PWLindy.com. Get started on your very own weight loss path today with Thomas, Lauren, and Samantha, my friends at Premier Weight Loss. Great deals right now, PWLindy.com. Thank you guys for what has been accomplished. And if you want any more advice regarding Premier Weight Loss, I got your back on that, PWLindy.com. Caleb, shout out to you. Maybe a conclusion to the Lioness and Cub story coming up tomorrow as well. Mucky Duck, 65 Southport, Bud Light Blue Friday. I'll see you there tomorrow at 3. Have a great night.